you ever broken a bone or suffered from a really bad injury? Do you remember the pain? Or do you remember the people that helped you during the injury? We find ourselves in a tough spot like that. It's not always easy to find our way out alone. And I don't think God wants us to navigate life alone anyway.
Last week, we started a new series about moving through the darkness in our lives. We said that the best way to handle hurt is to press pause and feel. And this week, we're going to talk about what it looks like to be a friend to those who are hurting.
When our friends are hurting, one of our first reactions is to want to fix their pain. The only problem is that we often want them to deal with the situation the way that we would handle it, or keep to our timeline of when we think they should be ready to move on. We feel like we're helping if we give them our solutions, but we're not really meant to be fixers of pain. We're meant to be friends who stand beside one another in the middle of it. But this is really tough. There are times when our friends go through difficult things and we really want to help, but we feel powerless or uncomfortable because we have no idea what to say or do.
So what should you do when you find yourself next to someone who's hurting? What does it look like to be a friend instead of a fixer? You may not have a friend who's hurting right now, but pay attention because chances are one day you'll find yourself next to someone in pain. And how you respond is a big deal. In fact, the people around you, they won't be able to heal or find hope nearly as fast without you as they can with you.
Let's look at a unique friendship in the Bible. It's found in the book of Ruth. The book is named after a woman named Ruth, but the story begins with another woman, Naomi. At the beginning of our story, Naomi was married with 2 sons. They lived together in a place called Moab, but tragedy struck her life and both her sons and her husband died, leaving her with 2 daughters-in-law, Ruth and Orpah.
You can only imagine the deep pain Naomi must have felt after losing 3 people who were so dear to her. She fell into a deep grief and couldn't find her way out. And in the midst of her pain, there was a famine in Moab. So not only was she sad, she was also starving. There was a rumor that there was food in Israel, the country where Naomi was originally from, so she decided to move back. As she began her journey, Naomi told Ruth and Orpah to abandon her and go remarry. She tried to convince them that staying with her would do them no good.
Now maybe you've seen someone deal with pain in this way before. They just push everyone away so that no one can get close enough to help. That's exactly what Naomi was doing. At her mother-in-law's advice, Orpah decided to stay in Moab. But Ruth, she decided to stick with Naomi. Ruth was committed. Just look at what she said to Naomi as they departed on their journey. But Ruth replied, "Don't urge me to leave you or turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. And where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God."
So Ruth and Naomi traveled together back to Naomi's hometown. It was a long period of time filled with a lot of pain and grief. In fact, Naomi's grief was so intense, she started to go by a different name. She told people to call her Mara, a name that meant bitter. Her pain filled every corner of her life. How do you begin to respond to someone in so much pain? The people from Naomi's town were stunned. And look at how she described her current state to them. "I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty."
Naomi was the picture of pain and grief. Yet Ruth stayed by her side. She didn't abandon Naomi. Can you imagine what it must have been like for Ruth during this time? It probably wasn't easy to watch someone she loved go through the ups and downs of grief on a daily basis. But she stayed anyway. Naomi wasn't alone. Ruth didn't have the ability to fix everything, and she didn't have the ability to make everything okay. She probably had moments when she couldn't say or do anything right in Naomi's eyes. But she did have the ability to love, comfort, and be present in Naomi's daily life.
Now the book of Ruth goes on for several more chapters, and eventually things got better. Ruth fell in love again, got married, and had a baby boy, a baby that ended up being an ancestor of Jesus himself. Naomi had been like a mother to Ruth, which made Ruth's baby like a grandson to Naomi. And when the women of the town saw this, they said, "Praise be to the Lord, who this day has not left you without a guardian redeemer. May he become famous throughout Israel. He will renew your life and sustain you in your old age. For your daughter-in-law, who loves you and who is better to you than 7 sons, has given him birth.
This ending doesn't erase Naomi's previous pain, but it does show us the promise of God's faithfulness in our pain. And you know who played the biggest role? Ruth. God used Ruth to help Naomi heal by walking with her through the darkness and filling her life with joy again.
So what does it look like for us to walk alongside our friends who are hurting? I think it's important to remember we can't fix their pain. They have to feel before they can heal, just like we do. But we can come alongside them and be their friend. Ruth teaches us that we don't need to have all of the answers or say the right words. We just need to be present and willing to walk beside those who are hurting. So when things are dark for others, be a friend, not a fixer. Let us give you a few ways to do that.
Be present. Like when things are tough or uncomfortable, don't abandon your friends who are in pain. Let them know that you're there for whatever they need. And even when they try to push you away, tell them you're not going anywhere.
Love them where they are. Don't have any expectations of how they should feel. Just let them grieve. Let them express their emotions. You can't fix them, so let them move through their pain at their own pace. Be patient. Listen more than you speak.
And check in often. You can communicate a lot through a short text message saying, "I'm thinking about you," or "I'm praying for you right now." Or maybe you can text a picture of something beautiful you saw or a funny story that reminded you of them. Short texts and little notes throughout the week can let your friends know you are there, even when you can't physically be beside them. Sometimes it's the little things that help friends take small steps forward.
So when you find friends or family walking through dark times, don't expect them to find their way out alone. God designed us to help care for one another. And when darkness comes, we can lean into each other. God used Ruth in Naomi's life. And in the midst of Naomi's pain, Ruth was there. And when things turned around, in the midst of Naomi's joy, Ruth was there. There was no right way to be alongside Naomi. There was no checklist for Ruth to complete. She was just there. She just showed up daily and simply loved her friend. And God wants to use you to do the same. And you can. And that's not by knowing all the answers, but it's like Ruth, just being a friend. And when things are dark for others, be a friend, not a fixer. And as you leave, think about this one question. Who's someone you know who could use a friend right now?